I have a cat and a dog, and I still got mice. I mean,
Hi. Well, I've invited Lori back here today because I've noticed a common challenge among new RVers, and that's they're often really hesitant to ask questions about RV maintenance and equipment operation and things like that. Some of them are just scared to uh, get on. They feel like they're intimidated by looking for help in public places. They think people are going to think they're dumb, and that's not the truth, but I understand that. So anyway, that's why I've invited Lori to help us create this comprehensive video series, and we will walk new RV enthusiasts through essential maintenance tasks and equipment usage and give you all the confidence that you need to enjoy your RV adventures. Thank you for accepting this, Lori. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to click Lori into the thing. So, hi.
hey, how are you doing?
Doing fine. I'm doing fine. You're on the move pretty soon. Going to Quartzsite, I hear.
Yes, I am. I'm going to go. I'll actually be there this weekend at Quartzsite with the RV and women, and give it a couple of lectures. I've been invited. It's such a great community. So
It is. It is. Where are RVing women going to be? They're going to be out on BLM land somewhere.
yeah, they are. Yes, they are. I don't have the exact details. They gave me the coordinates, but so I hope I can find it.
Yeah, sometimes I mean, even when you're there a long time, finding stuff out there because there's so many people in little groups, and you think, well, that's got to be the group, and it's not. They'll have a big sign
Yeah,
out or something, I'm sure.
yeah, she gave pretty
Anyway,
good directions.
we got a great response from last week, and we did get some follow up questions, and so I'm gonna ask you those first, and you can explain those, and then um, go off on whatever else that you've got planned. I think something about tools, or is that what you?
We're gonna do the mice and maybe because one of the
Nice.
mice issues. And then I thought maybe the tools, maybe I could kind of maybe next week do that because it's since we have so many questions this week, and
Okay.
maybe a little
And,
winterization since we're going through some crazy weather right now.
is it cold where you're at? It's 20
Well,
here.
well then no, I'm not going to complain about it. I'm not going to complain. How's that? Because as you notice, short sleeves on, and I
That's
had my flip
true.
flops on earlier. So
I've got my thermals
it,
on.
nope, nope.
Thermals in my sweatpants, but you can't see those. Anyway, okay, so first question. What are the most common issues you find during an RV inspection?
The most common, well, water damage. I mean, if you even on the newer models too, nothing comes out of the 100%, but more so on the used ones. Like I did an inspection this week and this week, and minute water damage, or it could have been, but there was had some cracks in the roof and those kind of things like that. So that would have to be it. And then tires. People forget to check out the tires. And I hate to say, but you got to get down there and take a closer look at the tires because I recommend 5 years older. You need to check them out. Check them in. Get you some new ones
Can you tell
because
them what to look
sometimes
for, how to tell if they're 5 years old or?
yeah. So you got the DOT, and it'll tell you on the sidewall of the DOT.
I did do
The
a video on tires somewhere. Maybe we can link that too. It'll have photos
Yeah,
and things. But yeah.
yeah. But I have a picture from this inspection I did this just this week.
Great.
And I also send you a picture of because even though the tires are 5 years older, but you got to look for the little cracks, the drywall, uh, dry rot, and all that, and then how they wear on how it wears. So That's something you got to be familiar with. So people kind of overlook that kind of things. Um, Another
Particularly with
issue.
dualies, right? Because the
What's that?
inside part is hard to see.
It is. And a lot of people don't want to get down there and take a look, but I'm not telling you have to, with these cameras and technology, you can, like I have a Samsung and I can just zoom in on it and it can really, I can see what's going on with it then, so if you can't physically get down, ask a neighbor, something like that, because, if you have a blowout, I don't care how fast you're going or how slow you're going, okay, it can cause a lot of damage to your RV. I mean, so, that's a scary moment. I mean, we had a blowout. I had trusted somebody to do an inspection and tell me, "Oh, your tires are good." I should have looked at them myself because once again, you don't know what you don't know. And we
Yeah.
were going on in Idaho and they go 80 miles an hour is the speed limit, so they're going 100. Of course, I wasn't. I mean, I don't go any faster than 65, you know. But I had to get over it. It was scary. But I had minimal damage, but it could have been a lot worse. But the scariest part was sitting on the side of the road waiting
Oh,
for a tow
yeah.
truck driver. So
Yeah.
I always recommend calling the non-emergency number on that. So and have them sit behind you until
Uh,
safety first.
I know.
Um,
We had one of ours peel, and it
oh,
didn't completely release. And so it came up and whacked the side of the RV and put a big crack in it. And I had to replace the entire side of the RV. It was like $10,000 from a tire, which I could have replaced for a couple of hundred. So,
exactly, exactly. And I think we get complacent sometimes. And I hate to use that word, but we do, especially those of us that are full timers and we're seasoned, right? It's like, ah, no, I just checked it, because let's face it, your tires, everything you have is sits on those tires. It's just like your feet. You don't take care of your feet. What do they tell you? Get a good pair of shoes, get a good set of tires. You know, spin, I know it's a weird analogy, but
oh, it
it
is.
works
It's
out.
good. It's great. Super. So let's see what else. Next question is how long? We're going to go into the mice in later, but how long should an if you're going to get an RV inspection, how long should it take for them to do it?
Well, good question, because there's different tiers of inspections. Okay, you got like a safety inspection that just covers like your tires, your propane systems. Make sure, when I say propane system, make sure you don't have any leaks. Your fire extinguishers, those kind of things. Those usually take around an hour to 2 hours. Okay. Then you have your next tier where you go and, it all depends on how in depth you want. So you can go anywhere from 3 to 4 hours for your second tier, you know, and then you have what we call the, one that can last us 8 hours. And plus it depends on how big your vehicle is. I mean, or if it's a drivable or non-drivable. Is it a small little 24 footer? Is it, a Newmar or something like that? So all those factors are different. But, you know, I did a safety inspection, like I said the other day. It took me, I spent 2 hours. But also when I do my safety inspection, if they're there with me, I like to teach them and show them as I'm going, the repairs that need to be done and stuff like that, or suggestions, because I can't tell you when I'm doing an inspection, but I can point
Right.
out the issues. If I can point out, hey, there's a water intrusion here, but if it's a life safety issue, I'm definitely going to let you know, like the tires, because, I can't in good conscience not tell you, you know.
Right.
So,
Does
so it all
does that
depends on type.
normally include the engine, or is that totally
Um,
different?
No, we do engine testing. Like we can check if they choose. I mean, there's different tiers, because you
Yeah.
have to it depends on how much you want to invest into a an inspection. I mean, if you're buying a $300,000 rig and higher, I'm going to tell you you're going to check all those oils and your fluids and your coolant and that. And I don't care if it's brand new or if it's not brand new, because you never know if you like might be a hose that's bad and I would be leaking water into those kind of things. And then if you're going to get a used one, I mean, still invest a little extra bit of money to do that because, you know, you don't want to get on the road and, all of a sudden, you didn't check the transmission and have that tested. You could have found, different particles and stuff in there. So,
Okay, interesting. For some
Mhm.
reason, I only had it in my head that the RV tech didn't do engine work, that had to be done by the
It's not that we do the work, but
chassis.
we can do the testing. Like we can look
Right,
at you, we can take pictures. If I see that your belt, we can take pictures and identify issues on an inspection. We're not actually, when you do an inspection, if you're doing a formal inspection, we don't do the repairs or anything like that. So,
right,
you know,
right. I just, for some reason,
no, I get you. A lot of people do. I don't do
how
diesel
many
work,
years
but
have
I
I
can
been
point
on
it
the
out to you.
road and I didn't know that, right? So this
Yeah.
is a great refresher for people that have been on the road a long time and don't and are complacent. Like I said, we've driven
Yep.
here, 10 years and haven't had a problem. And, we forget to check those things. So that's pretty good to
Yes.
know.
Yeah.
So let's see. Kind of these go together. How do I identify potential water damage in the RV? And what should I look for when inspecting an RV's plumbing system?
Okay. Well, let's do the identify the water damage. Some of the things I wrote down is like, well, you know, think about it. If you have an odor, it's musty or moldy kind of smell. It does put out an odor, kind of like Um, look for discolorization. So, say on your walls, or on the ceiling, if you see a little yellowing or something, get up and take a look. You know, look for how the seams and stuff. How the paper peels back or the paint might be bubbling. Um, you know, um, look by your windows and stuff like that because you'll see it dripping sometimes. Look at condensation. People overlook that condensation causes such damage. You
And
know,
mold.
um, and mold. Yes. And one thing I always recommend, if you're going to be looking around, is pull that furniture away from that wall on your slides. Because if you think about it, that slide's moving in and out, it goes up, it shifts, it takes a lot of wear and tear, but where they come together, a lot of the times on that floor there, you got some soft spots and stuff like that. Um, look for rust. If you noticing your screws are rusty and stuff like that, that could be a sign of water damage. Um, delamination on your exterior walls. A good thing to do
What
is
is
look at your
exactly delamination?
delamination is when the bubbling in the fiberglass of your with these the fiberglass on your walls. You know how you notice some of the bubbling or it moved. Do
When you look
something.
down,
You can check these out. It's like usually it's like flat. You're gonna see some. You'll see where your joists or studs are at or whatever you all want to call them on this. But you'll see that. But if you're seeing where you can physically see it's bubbling out or bowing out, and you go press that, and you can push on it, and it goes in. That means it's coming off your sealant. It's not sealed anymore because there's different ways that they do that, and that's another class we could do. And what to look for. Maybe we can go out because if you look at your RV at different times of the day, you're going to see different things. The shadows hide them and those kind of.
oh, I
So
didn't
I
know.
say look at your rig throughout, different times because maybe during the daylight you don't see the delamination or like, but when the shadows come out, then you do notice different things.
Does
Um,
heat cause
but
that too? Does the delamination?
you can have heat. It can. It
Yeah,
can. Yeah. Especially in the desert here. I mean,
yeah.
in Texas too, but
It's
I've seen a
really
lot.
hot.
It does. It does.
Yeah.
Because you gotta think about it, it's just your uh sometimes it's just on styrofoam attached to that and the sealant and they can get, pressed in, put the sealant on there and it's bonded on there, but you know, temperature is going to make a difference on that. So keep an eye on that. Um, as far as like looking for your RV water systems, right? That was the next one is look at your lines, no matter what it's made of, look where it's connected at. Make sure, if when you turn on your water, make sure you use God, I can't even think of my words today.
Regulator.
A lot of regulations. I got it
Right.
in my head. And make sure your PSIs, are I usually go between 45 and no more than 60. It depends on what your rig is. Always follow what your rig says, but look for the connections. Look around if you're doing an inspection or you haven't used your rig in a few months, or you just getting it out from winterization or something. Fill those tanks up, fill them up, and let them, check them out. Make sure there's no leaks, you know, because that way you can also sanitize them while you're doing that, right? If it's been sitting like that too, but use it, and then drain them and then flush your tanks again, because a lot of people don't take the time out to fill their tanks up to check them out, and then when you get to the campsite or something, you notice you got this leak going. Um,
Which might be
also,
okay with water, but you don't want the sewer leaking.
oh, no, no, no. And with the water too, some people, they get, yeah, you need that water. Say
Yeah.
you're gonna go boondocking in, and it's like, oh my God, check your water heater. You want to make sure, um, open it when you open it up, if you have an electric one or whatever, or just in habit, just to look at it. Look around your pressure relief valve. Make sure you're not having any signs of calcium buildup there where it's leaking out, or the anode rods, or the plug on your Atwoods. They got that plastic, but you'll see if it's leaking. Those are some of the things that I check out. You know, so those are some of the few things that I did point out on that. Your water heaters, check around your toilet and your plumbing. So, like, if you want to make sure if you're seeing leakage around your toilet, you know, make sure you gotta like go around there and put the screws in. There's also plumbing in the back of that that you want to check out periodically too. So people forget to check the back of your toilet and around the toilet.
Yeah.
So and then check around your shower, make sure those sills and stuff like that, because it isn't just to me, when I'm thinking about water and the plumbing area, I'm still thinking about all the fixtures too. Like, you want to check your shower head, you want to check those things because it could leak back into it. So those are some of the common areas to check your P traps. If you're out traveling, or those of us that are full time. I mean, if you look underneath your cabinets, how much stuff do you have underneath there that could jar those loose or something like that? So
Yeah, that's a pretty common area to leak too under the sink.
it is. And those things when they break, I mean, it's everything. It's always going to happen when you go to the store or something. You come home and all the water's everywhere. So,
True.
you know,
Yeah.
these are my yes, ma'am.
So next week we're going to talk about the tools that they need to have in their RV and
Yeah,
that kind of thing. But the burning question this week was mice. So
yeah.
I should have had
That's
mice
what I
on
want
the end instead of a cat and a dog. So
to.
I should have had
That's what
mice
I
on
want.
the end instead of a cat and a dog.
I have a cat and a dog, and I still got mice. I mean, I don't care who you are, you're gonna get mice. You know, I have a cat and a dog, and I still got mice. I mean, I don't care who you are, you're gonna get mice. But it's just like, it just depends on when you live. Like I said last week, I was living in Texas, and this was a brand new RV park, and so they went out and removed all these brush and trees and stuff. So where did the, come getting cold? Well, everybody around there was getting. I was up against the riverbank, and I was getting mice. And one of the things, we had to keep our stuff stored underneath a canopy kind of area that they wanted closed off. Think about it, I did, like, I was just following park rules and all that. But when I went to start moving on my stuff, there was mice in there. There's mice growing in there, and I started noticing mice, yeah, Matt, nice little mice turds going around and all that in my house. It's like, and I call it my house, because I'm a full timer,
Home.
and you know, I, they were coming from that little storage area, and it was on the outside underneath my fifth wheel because we had to keep it. So, um, I'm not gonna lie, I'm scared of mice. I was sitting there cleaning it up. All of a sudden, my neighbors hear me scream like a girl, and I'm like, "Oh my God!" They thought I got hurt. It's no, it's just mice. It's like, um, so what I did is, I'm just talking from my personal experience, and this was just a few before we came here to Arizona. Is I had to go around, make sure that I had all my stuff around my camper picked up and not underneath. You know how we like to store stuff underneath there? Well, mice, that's just an easy way for the mice to get in because, they can crawl up that. It only takes a small little area because they can smush down and squeeze through little holes. And so you need to be careful with that. Keep the perimeter of your camper or your uh, or RV cleared away from stuff, okay? If you do have to store stuff around, what I was doing is peppermint. I was using peppermint. Peppermint seems to work pretty good for us. A lot of people say Irish Spring, but Irish Spring I've heard it attracts or it detracts. So I'm just, the peppermint. We just went and got some at the store and just bought it. Put it on some cotton balls. Put it on some rags. I put them up. Put it over my tire. Kind of like that, and that helped clean it up around it. That, but also I had to go through and I had to find all the holes. Okay, so my go-to is steel wool because they can eat through they'll eat through that insulation, but steel wool they can't eat through.
That foam
So I kind of
insulation that you spray in that eat through that?
they can chew on that because it gets through it. So,
Never thought of
and
it.
another weird thing I did in my prior life when I was in Kansas is I did work in the pest control industry. So, and yes, I did scream when I seen a mouse too. So it hasn't stopped. Um, but we use steel wool a lot, and because they can't eat that. So if you don't want to use the steel wool, you can caulk the entryways, or you can use mesh. Because if you notice, when you go underneath your underbelly and you're in your the pass through, you notice how the piping goes in, and hey, the pipes are little, but you got these big holes. So that's a great way for them to get in there. And
Oh, yeah.
if anybody's so stuff that either with some steel wool or put mesh around it, and try to keep them out. If you get them in your house, I might call my house, but if you get them in your RV, you just got to work. Unfortunately, you might have to set some traps. And I'll use a glue board or something. And like I said, I travel with two cats, and they were useless. So um, they just sat there and looked at them. But unfortunately, so and they would meow at them, but they wouldn't catch them for me. But so yeah, the peppermint oil really helped us. And another key thing is, I don't care how clean we are. You got to go through your cabinets and make sure, put your stuff in some plastic containers or something. Make sure you're always keeping your crumbs cleaned up because that's what they're looking for. They're looking for either food and water, or they're going to be looking for things to make nesting out of, like paper and yarn or material, um, cloth or anything like that. So just make sure you just keep things cleaned up and in order.
I had some success with using a bucket and a little board and then cheese on the end. And then when they would climb up, they would fall into the bucket. And then I would take them in the bucket and I would run way out in the field and drop them off. The problem is they ran faster back to the rig than I did. So they were back there
Yeah.
before I even got home. But if you're a no-kill type of person, you actually can trap them that way. And if you can find a place to get rid of them that's a long ways away, take a drive in the vehicle and then drop them
I
off.
try not to kill. I'm like you.
Yeah.
I don't like to hurt anything. So like if you have to trap them, there's humane things you can do. Like if you get them on a glue board, you can take a little oil on it, vegetable oil, let them loose out somewhere, without hurting them. And also you can use those. Some people like those ultrasonic repellers. So it's kind of more like if you this here's a personal preference.
Yeah.
There's not one cure all or anything like that. And I joked with you last week when on our conversation about how I got rid of mine. I mean, I had mine in my ceiling, and I could see him. I was in the shower one day. I saw you, and it's coming over the
Skylight
I'm
thing.
sorry, the sky
Skylight.
the skylight. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I had my stroke, and sometimes I can see my words. I can't get them out. but the skylight, and it's like that double layer, and I'm seeing two little mice going through, and it's like, what the heck? And I told you, I mean, one of the jokes is just pick up and move. Sometimes you just can't help. I mean, I was leaving, but you know, I got lucky. I got out of
When
there.
you get, once you don't you take them with you when that happens?
No, I noticed that once we started traveling and stuff like that, I didn't have any more. I have not had one mouse since I got here a few weeks ago. So I don't know if, like, when we were traveling, if it jarred them out, whatever. But I got fortunate. Now I got, like,
Scared them
I'm in
to death.
Arizona, so
They're like, oh my god,
my
the
old
house
neighbors,
is
my old neighbors, like, you're a neighbor that keeps on giving. We still got your mice here. It's like, yeah. So, but just keep the clutter up around your place. Like, people like in a kind of like, let's spin us a little bit with this winterization stuff too. You know, people talk about using hay bales around, you know, but those will attract mice and
and
other
snakes.
kind of varmints and
Yeah.
stuff like snake. Yeah. And so you got to be careful with that. And plus, I find it like a little bit of a fire hazard, to me, because we got a hay bale underneath there, so be careful if you do use straw bales for winterization, because sometimes that's all you can afford to do. And I get it, but just be prepared that you might have some mice or possum or whatever gets in there to hide. Because I grew up from Kansas, so we know what grows up in the barns, right?
Yeah.
So,
Uh, well, cool. That's like an entire bunch of information for everybody today. You just clicked right through all the questions. I've got a whole bunch more, but we're going to try those on another day. So tell them what you're going to talk about next time so that they can be prepared. And if they're interested, come and see.
all right, well, how about if I leave it up to them? Do they want to know? Maybe they can give a suggestion here by this week. Do they want to know about what I call it, a go bag, for what kind of tools that I have with me at all times? And then maybe if they would want maybe some winterization tips,
Okay.
you know,
I'll
if
see
that's not
what
a little
they
bit too
say.
late. Yeah. So, but I think tools are very important. I mean, I can buy many tools, but there's only necessity.
Okay. Well, one of these times we're going to have to go live so that we can get everybody come in and answer the questions. So everybody start thinking about your questions that you'd like answered live. And in maybe 2 weeks, we'll try to do that. Now that Lori feels more comfortable in being on the screen. And and I guess that's it for the day. Thank you, Lori. It was so helpful. And I know everybody's going to appreciate this, and it'll live forever on the internet. So anytime somebody feels uncomfortable about asking a question, they can always go to one of these videos with us and see what answers that we have for them. So until
I
then,
appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you.
okay, everybody, thanks for being here. Um, like, share, and subscribe. I have a new video up where I took a trip to the Alani Casino, and it's kind of a review of this casino and a little bit of gambling on the side. And it tells a lot about the RV parking and the pet policy there at the casino. So be sure to check that out. And until then, happy trips, happy travels, happy life. Bye bye. See you, Lori. Thank you.
Thank you.